All right, so I am going to run you through some of the rules, but first of all, welcome to the Microsoft Project Excel versus Outbuild webinar. What we're trying to accomplish today is we understand that being in construction, we need to show and tell and not so much just tell. So we'll be running you through a direct comparison of usage between Microsoft Project and Outbuild. So first of all, your host, my name is Jean. I am the head of sales for Outbuild, but I also have a background in construction. So I worked for GBR Construction as a project manager and superintendent, where I had the opportunity to be firsthand exposed to scheduling and planning practices, and now join Outbuild to help construction project with a better solution. So what I would like to say is there's a chat box where you could ask as many questions as you like, and of course a Q&A. So as you go, please ask questions. If I see things popping up, of course, I'll try and answer as much as I can. If not, we will keep them for the end of the webinar. I will now start sharing my screen. What I'll show today is a mix of recording from Microsoft Project usage, Excel, Outbuild, and also live information on Outbuild directly. So let's get this going. Again, today we'll talk about Outbuild versus Microsoft Project and Excel. To set the stage a little bit, just a quick agenda to tell you a bit more about what we will compare. We'll start with talking about scheduling, of course, which is the core of Microsoft Project. Then get into Lookahead planning, which is really the key advantages of switching to Outbuild and getting a fully integrated solution. We'll talk about training and support, and in the end, a summary of the benefits of joining Outbuild. To set the stage, in the construction industry, if you look at general contractors in the mid-market size, 65 to 70% of general contractors are using Microsoft Project for scheduling and Excel for Lookahead planning. So when I talk about scheduling, what I mean is you are using a scheduling software for biddings, for proposals, that then becomes a contractual document with the owner that you also leverage to do client updates and contracts with subcontractor. So this is where the project managers are mostly involved as far as managing the schedule. And I know there is some subtleties as far as, maybe sometimes superintendent will be or pre-construction manager, but I'm just using the main feedback we get from people we talk to. Then on the planning side, now we're talking about, everything that is field coordination, mostly led by a superintendent on the job site. And then we're looking at, look-ahead planning, the 3-6 week look-ahead plans that we take from the schedule, where we would also track progress. And then this is all the collaboration that happens with subcontractors. So let's start with scheduling. As you can see in this video, what we did is we want to show you the comparison of building a 30-line item schedule between Microsoft Project to the left, and on the right side, Outbuild. Some of the key differences, so as far as adding activities, it remains very similar. You could, in Outbuild, add the plus to the right, or in Microsoft Project, just keep entering to add all the activities that you need. As far as the user interface goes, Microsoft Project has a lot of features and a lot of things that you could do that sometimes make it a little cumbersome for people to use. So when we talk to superintendents, what they tell us is they default to Excel for any field updates or leverage because you need to learn on your own how to use Microsoft Project. On the right side, so those are of course, fast track videos, and we'll show you how much time it took us for one versus the other. Where I have experience using P6 Project, Phoenix, I am maybe a more experienced user, just as most of the project management on this call are. But you could see here to the right in Outbuild, when it comes to sequencing, leveraging the drag and drop feature and the bulk select enabled me to just create that sequence of activities in a couple seconds. This is probably where the key drawback from Microsoft Project came down to, as far as having to manually plug in and looking at which activities or that drop down that you could see now on the left to do the predecessors, successors, felt very cumbersome to me. And this is what I also hear from most of the clients and prospect we talk to, as far as switching from project to Outbuild is that ease of use. So you could see in about 7 or 8 minutes that schedule was built to the right. And on Microsoft, I'm still spending a little bit of time trying to figure out the sequencing and looking at which activity number needs to be for predecessors and successors. That is now taking me a couple more minutes to finalize. So as I can see here, if I fast track a little bit, that took me about 11 minutes. So just to show you, the idea here is Outbuild has all the functionalities you need to manage a construction schedule. The core thing is contract schedule is very important, and you want to keep that core of what you're used to show to clients, and we understand this. So what we did is you have all those features, whether you're looking at predecessors and successors, float, baseline, being able to display critical path, filter or tag by anything you liked. You could also have, if you're a more advanced scheduler, looking at constraint type to be able to define different constraint type, a WBS structure, of course, the import exports, templates, and custom calendar. So all those features are here for you to have an easy transition. Coming from Microsoft project, we make it even easier where you can import a Microsoft project file and get going right away. Or when your company transfers, if you want to keep that data of Microsoft project files, you can import them into Outbuild. So here we show you that you could build schedules a lot faster. This was only 30 line items. If you get to like 300, 1,000 line item schedule, if you have a bigger project, the sequencing is what takes the most time and what I could do a lot faster in Outbuild. So what we see is the bigger the schedule, the more time you would actually save. Now let's look at look-ahead planning. So the best practice when you have Microsoft project is to use an Excel spreadsheet. So you could see to the left, I have to format all the numbers and days in the Excel spreadsheet and making sure that I have everything ready to go. To the right in Outbuild, what is very simple is I could just filter out activities directly from my schedule. As you could see, I'm working to the right on the Outbuild. And instead of having to have project on one screen and Excel on the other one and take activities into the Excel look ahead, which most people we talk to tell us that superintendents don't even do. They just build out a look ahead, not connected to the schedule. In Outbuild, we don't even give you that option. You have to build within the confine of what the contract says. So that makes it a lot simpler for a superintendent to come in, call the code and sequence the work as they need. And you see in 4 minutes, I built a 6-week look ahead that was incredibly simple because all I had to do was bring in activities from the schedule into my look ahead. That's instant in Outbuild. Add all the tasks that I need. As I select a responsible, a company, it would call a code automatically, the company associated, and then I could just drag and drop. What you can see here to the left, I am still working on Xing the companies that I need to work with. I realized that I need more than 3 weeks. So I need to redo the formatting. And again, that's me with a lot of computer background that could use Excel in and out. I know some superintendent don't have quite the time or the patience to be able to do all of this, which leads to late input into your look ahead, which leads to them not wanting to actually do it. And you can see I'm still working here on formatting and finalizing the sequencing. And that took me more than twice the time to do that in Excel. So think about what would make your superintendents want to have a tool that's designed for them. And also the easier it is, the more likely they are to spend time building out a look ahead, building out the right sequence, and not having to format an Excel spreadsheet, which I am sure they are not looking forward to during the day. And even if it's 5 minutes in this case, because it was only a couple of weeks, a simple look ahead, that's every day almost, or every week that they have to change and make updates there. So it adds up as far as time saved and the quality of the look ahead that they would put into. Now, this is great. We built a look ahead. So just to summarize, we take 9 steps from project to Excel and turn it into 4 steps and enable you to build in 60% faster. And that's incredible because, again, we all look at time to value and just helping you with a solution that is construction focused. Now let's talk about collaboration. So it is great to be able to create a look ahead, but it only matters if you could share this with subcontractors in an effective way. With project and Excel, it is a single user access. So you only have access to the file. There's no live access to the data unless if you use Microsoft, the Drive Excel Online that I've been using in this video, but then people may have the ability to touch things that you didn't want to. No ability to truly collaborate, and then no mobile access. You can't make any updates in the field. What we also find is the only way that superintendents can share the information is by printing to PDF, giving and sending an email to subcontractors, and or printing a piece of paper, which means that that piece of paper is always showing outdated information. Every time you make a change to the look ahead, they have to go back and print and send it to everybody, which could take a couple of days or a couple of hours. With Outbuild, we want to make it collaborative. And what it means is it's unlimited users. When you sign up for your company on Outbuild, you get unlimited users. don't worry, it doesn't mean that you relinquish control. It's actually quite the opposite. Because at the look-ahead level, what companies can now do is give access to subcontractors or even design team, if you like, or inspectors, to see their plan and be able to filter by company name, being able to see all the data that they need. So there's multiple permission levels that enable you to do so. All the data is live. Anytime you log in, as long as your superintendent is making sure the updates are being done on a day-to-day basis, you don't have to ask for a copy of a PDF. I was on job site where I'll get a couple of phone calls a day asking for a copy of a PDF because the paper was lost or the email was lost. And the better part, we will show you in a minute, is through our iPad app, you can now make those updates in the field. So no longer do you have to go back to your computer for a superintendent and then sit down in Excel and make updates. As they walk the field, they may have Procore open as well, doing safety walks. They could now update their schedule. So what does it translate to as far as benefits? What we see based on our user feedback, having instant access to the schedule and look ahead, so never outdated, and that's for everybody, will increase participation. What that means is subcontractors are now more inclined to participate and reflect issues and give you feedback because they have access live. They don't have to ask for permission. That will lead to identify potential delays quicker and mitigate the risk of delays. The people that are building in the field, the subcontractors, are the ones that are closest to the work. And they are the ones that tell you, hey, I may see a problem here or there. Now moving on to roadblocks management. So what we call roadblocks have been called constraint. You could see on the screenshot that I took from LCI on the left. These are the issues that come up when you're having a conversation in the field. You know, you have a foreman's meeting. I need this RFI answered. I need to make sure the crane is ready for my guys. So most of the time, these are tracked in an Excel spreadsheet or on a whiteboard you could see to the left. Those roadblocks are so important to track because any of them, if it's not resolved on time, will push your schedule. So what we did in Outbuild is you could create roadblocks directly to the task that is being affected. So in this case, you see I have created a roadblock that is a submittal and I assign it to a specific task. And it's a reminder. I need that roadblock to be answered by this time and who is in charge of it. So instead of having it on a computer that on a whiteboard or somewhere on the left, you would keep all that information connected into Outbuild. And that could be done, subcontractors could create roadblock, your PE, your superintendent, your PM, anybody. But the goal is to make it visual. You want to remove any potential delays or roadblocks before they actually impacting your project. So you could see here in Outbuild, we now have those little cones that pop up in your look ahead. So you know exactly what's being impacted. And it creates a list of roadblocks that you can now chop away at it. All the orange ones are open and you want to make sure you get all those roadblocks removed. And there it doesn't have to be an actual delay, but it's also a reminder. There's safety documents to get approved. There's submittals to get approved before you move in. RFIs, contracts, change orders. All of these play into a potential delay. If you don't get those done in time, then the field will be delayed. So as a quick summary again, Project Excel, great, or you do a whiteboard, but it's very siloed. All this information is living on a whiteboard. You have no reminders, you have no access to it. It's all living in one place. Now with Outbuild, you could connect those action items directly to the task. You get an email and a reminder, making sure you don't forget about it. And we also provide you analytics on how good are you at performing all those roadblocks. So what it does, again, we centralize all the issues into one place with your scheduling and your planning. That helps our client resolve issues before they actually become delayed, because you have that reminder here. We're all human. There's only so much we can remember. And again, the goal is to mitigate the risk of delays. So I will go back real quick. I see a question coming out. Can you change bowling code responsibilities on a roadblock after you have created in Outbuild? Yes, you should be able to. That's something that, the idea is typically the responsibility bowling code is set up at the beginning. The goal is I need that submittal to be answered by that time or I'll have a delay. And then you would tag the right person. So we don't typically see a need for changing the bowling code. But if you want to pass it to someone else, what we've seen done most is to change who is responsible. So create a second step so people don't forget as they go through it. Thank you for the question. So as we move forward now, we have, just to take a step back, we have created our look ahead. The field is going. On the right, I could see what most superintendents are now doing is updating progress on Excel, which is good because you want to know what has been completed, what has not been, and make quick changes. But that progress does not reflect in Microsoft project. And it means by the time you sit down with the superintendent and project manager to make that update, it's a week. So again, you have to make manual updates to Microsoft project. You kind of have to guess on, okay, is it 5 activities, 2 are complete, the other 3 are not, we're about 60%. And again, that's not me telling you what I did, it's what we hear every day with contractors we talk to. But now what happens if there's a delay? So right now, what I'm going to show you in to the right in Excel is what happens if the inspection pushes out and we need more time. The way it's done right now with Excel is, well, you would just probably just drag that task a little longer and be able to change. You see, I'm coloring a couple boxes extra. We need a couple more days for that inspection. But that doesn't do anything to my schedule. It's just informative. We are pushing out. And that is if the subcontractor, the superintendent, sorry, in their Lookahead is tracking the milestones from the schedule. Most would not. But what that means is now if I see there's a potential delay, it's in Excel, it's siloed. I have to wait till I'm in my project manager, go update in Microsoft project, make that manual change and see if it's okay or not, and then save it. So it's quite a lot of steps for you to be aware that there is an impact to your schedule. What we do now in Outbuild is, this is showing you the iPad app. So instead of having to wait and sit down in Excel to update progress, the superintendent walks the field. They're able to open the iPad app and look at the sequence of work that they created. And now they could just simply click and start updating progress of the tasks that have been completed. So right now, I am updating 3 tasks. And you can see that Excavate now is 80% complete. So I have that instant feedback. Step 2 is if I get back to the schedule, so now I will open Outbuild online, Excavate 80% complete. I can see that there is navigating to the activity card. I have a direct view into the tasks that were updated. So layout, topsoil, and Excavate, 100% complete. Great. So I know where the progress comes from because from the schedule, I could see what is in the Lookahead. Now, if I navigate to the Lookahead, I could, of course, make those changes there too and add more detail. I have those 3 tasks that we just updated. If I need to make changes and so on, the superintendent could also make it there. So you see, I change the progress of one task, it updates my schedule automatically. The other thing I wanted to show is the ability to identify delays. So you could see we talked about that inspection task. What if that gets delayed? In Outbuild, you get an instant reminder. Careful, you are going to schedule something outside of the range of your contract. So the superintendent will immediately send that request to the project manager saying, oh, we missed inspection, something happened, we need an extra day. That then goes to the project manager to review and see if it's okay and how is this impacting the schedule. So this is what we call the modification request. You're sending a request to modify the contract, but only the admin could make that validation. So you see, as I click preview, my schedule that was originally on baseline right now, I don't have any delays. I click preview and now I have a day of delay and it pushed my entire schedule because Excavate is on my critical path. So we're starting the job. It's only 1 day. I have decided to approve it. What that does now is when I go back to my Lookahead, I have my activity has extended and everything has shifted accordingly to the sequencing that I had. So you could see it right here. Navigating back to the Lookahead, I go to this specific task and now the end of it has been extended to give me a little bit more time. So to summarize, schedule updates to the left on Project Excel. You have to update Excel. You have to update project. There's no connection between the two. As soon as you make a change, you need to create a PDF, send it to everybody. You turn 8 steps into 2 with Outbuild. The idea is you update this field, the progress in the field directly with your iPad app, or if you don't have an iPad app, you could do it on your computer. That updates your schedule. If ever there's a delay, you get notified right away. What are the benefits of this? Again, you identify potential delays instantly. You don't have to wait a week or have that conversation to see how Excel has impacted your schedule. So the goal again is to minimize the risk of delays, which is the number one reason that's costing people money on job site is that we can't stick to the plan. I see another question. I think that one was done. Sorry, going back to it. Now we've went through the creation of schedule, creation of look ahead, collaboration, roadblocks, updating schedule that people do all day, every day. The next key part that I wanted to bring up today is the training and support. So this is probably one of the things that we receive the most amazing feedback from our current clients is the ability to have support with project in Excel. As you know, you'll buy the software, the license, you have it on your computer, and then you have to figure it out on your own because they will not provide any training. They will not provide any live support if you have questions, which means that training is an added cost if you want to do it. If you don't, then it's up to your team members to figure it out, which again is not ideal because it means that they have to get trained on their own and you don't know what quality of training is provided or where they get the resources. In Outbuild, any clients that signs up, you will get full onboarding and training. We will help you with that transition. We will help you make sure that you have something that's custom to your needs to make sure every project manager, superintendent gets on board. And it's fairly simple. Within an hour or two, anyone will be able to use the entire suite and know how to use the product. The best part is unlimited live support. There's a little bubble at the bottom right of your screen. You click there and you can talk to our entire team and have somebody get to you within a minute. And that's, what does that mean is, if right now I'm a project manager, I'm in Microsoft project and I have a question on how to do something, I may not do my schedule update because I couldn't figuring out the problem that I have, which means that now my schedule update takes a couple more days to get through. In Outbuild, you have any issues, even you, your owner, your subcontractors, anybody you give access to, hit the chat button. If any of the videos can help you out, we'll show you anything you need. If ever we need to get on a call, we'll get on a call right away to make sure you get those updates as planned and you don't get any more delays. So to summarize, no need for external training. We'll help you and take care of all of this. The live support is for all users. There's no delays in making updates. And again, the goal is to save time and money. Yes, so can you share the recording meeting at the conclusion? Of course, we are going to post this recording online. Share this with everybody and as well as the deck. What I want to talk about now is why does Outbuild exist and really why are we a better solution? So let's talk about the cost of delays. You could see to the left, this is data from the LCI website. 90% of construction projects experience delays. And if you've been on job site, you'll probably agree with this. And on average, it's about 20% of the added duration. So if you're doing a year project, you may have 2 months of delay added to this, which is massive. So now let's take the example of a general contractor that does about 50 million construction volume a year and 10 projects. So the average job will be $5 million. Through the course of a year, what we find is what Outbuild is best as is help you prevent delays. Because in the end, this is what scheduling and planning is. You want to build as planned. So what if we take the lowest possible scenario of like helping you with that transition and the benefit? What if we could help you save 1 day of delay on each of those projects with the added collaboration, with the added participation, with the live information you get through Outbuild? 1 day of delay on a $5 million job is $13,600. Over 10 jobs, that's $136,000 that you could save. And it's only 1 day. That's the minimum. Now let's talk about time savings. We showed you today on top of helping prevent delays, we also save your team time. And we understand that they're still getting paid for what they do and it's not quite money back in your pocket, but wouldn't you want your superintendent to, instead of being on a computer, making an Excel update that takes an hour and a headache, walk the field, look at safety, look at quality and do this over there, or even take a 15-minute break because they've been on the job site for 14 hours. So building schedules 30% faster, the look ahead 60% faster, will help those planning sessions be a lot quicker too, because you put Outbuild on the screen, that's a lot easier than putting an Excel spreadsheet. And then we've eliminated training, sharing of information, and schedule updates, because it's all done as you go. We find with our current users that we could save you about 150 hours per project per year. So if we save you 1 hour of not having to do a schedule update with your super and your PM, that's already 2 hours a week. So that's very simple math. So for that company we talked about, 10 projects, that is 1,500 hours a year. If you take an example, you could do your own math, $50 an hour that you may pay XYZ employee, that's an extra $75,000 a year that you spend anyway that could be used to do something more useful. So now let's summarize it. Again, talking that company as an example, and you could do the math for your own company, and happy to run you through this. The opportunity in time savings and delay savings could be over $200,000 a year for a $50 million contractor. Now, how much are you currently spending in project? How much are you currently spending in training? That is also a direct saving as well. So you could take that as an extra saving. The return on investment could be over than 10x. But again, it takes switching, implementing, and getting to the next stages. So this was the overview of our webinar for today. Again, comparing Microsoft Project Excel to Outbuild in a very straightforward manner. We'll make a video out of this recording and share it with everybody, of course, and a couple of snippets to make sure you have access to it. What I would like to offer now for everybody on the call is, if you don't believe us, contact us. We'll set you up on a free trial. We'll give you access for a couple of weeks, and you could see by yourself. We know a construction industry is will agree by doing things, and this is exactly what we're trying to offer here. So now I would like to switch it to the Q&A. If you have any questions, please put the question on the chat. So what's the plan to connect Outbuild platform with Procore? So we are, that's something that I didn't mention because Microsoft Project doesn't do it live. The idea is that Outbuild is the preferred vendor for scheduling and planning with Procore. As you know, Procore has a planning tool, but just a viewer for scheduling. So with Outbuild, you're able to connect your schedule and it would sync live into Procore. There are tremendous benefits to this because it makes it so much simpler now to have all the information in Procore without having to do it manually. We also enable you to have single sign-ons, make it very easy to transition. And we have an RFI connection at the moment. And the idea is RFIs can be created as roadblocks, and then you see that information live on your Lookahead. The last thing we are working on is there's many improvements we are working on as far as building more connection with Procore. The next one will be a Seminole integration. We're working on employee contact connection and many more as far as connecting, more things to the Lookahead and the plan. Any other questions? Question about the iPad app. So at the moment, the iPad app does need, so the question is, does the iPad app need an internet connection or can it be uploaded once reconnected to Wi-Fi? At the moment, the iPad app here needs to be connected to Wi-Fi or any kind of internet for it to sync up. The goal will be to make it so that you can make the updates and then it would push into the web. The iPad app is really focused on Lookahead updates and making those quick changes as you walk the field. Most iPad apps, you could have a SIM and you're always connected because you also need to have access to Procore and whichever other software you need. Anything else? If no other questions, what I like to offer, of course, everybody is to be able to reach out to myself or team through the website, whichever you like. We will post that video after. And if you're interested in doing a second, demo, talking to our team as far as doing something more targeted to what your company needs, of course, we're here to help and get you set up on a free trial. It doesn't hurt. You could get set up and get access and see for yourself. All right. Thank you, everybody. And then we'll see you at the next webinar.